Okay, so I took a coach with almost 400,000 followers on IG and found that he might be losing around $20,000 to $30,000 on every 100 calls he books for his coaching business. Okay, so we can see here that he has almost 400,000 followers, that he has 3,000 posts. His content is amazing. He's doing really well. He has a lot of views, a lot of interactions. But what I found is that he might be losing $20,000 to $30,000 on every 100 call he books in the gap between when someone books a call and the moment the call starts. So Christian, if you're watching this video, I hope that this is going to be helpful. Okay. And in this video, I'm going to break down his current process, where the money leaks, and I'll show you the exact step-by-step process on how to fix this for completely free. Quick note is that all numbers are based on my assumptions. I assume those numbers are based on every 100 calls this coach books. I assume that he sells a high ticket offer at 5K, that his show-up rate is 55%, his close rate is 30%, and what we're going to do is we're going to aim for 75% show-up rate, okay? These are the average numbers in high ticket space, so I will use these numbers just to show you how expensive the leak can actually be. And here's the math. On every 100 calls with 5K offer, 30% close rate, 55% show-up rate, and if we want to target the 75% show-up rate, that means that now we are losing around $30,000 every single month, which is almost $400,000 every single year left on the table because of the bad pre-call structure, okay? So let's see where it all begins. First, I landed on this Calendly page, and what happens here is that whoever gets on this page can book a call almost 1 month in advance, which can be a first reason someone might not show up. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to limit this gap so people can book 24 to 72 hours in advance instead of 1 month or 2 months in advance. Okay. So once I chose my time, I landed on this page where I have to answer a few questions. These are solid basic questions everyone should answer before they get on the call. What is missing is the confirmation that they're committed enough to actually show up on the call. And this is what I would personally add somewhere in between here, just to make sure that they have one commitment to do before they get on the call. And I would just say, by booking a call, you commit to attending at the scheduled time. If you miss this call, you will not be able to book another one. Do you agree to attend at the scheduled time? And then here we can just put a checkbox where they can say, yes, I commit that I'm going to show up on the call. So once I click this schedule button here, I'm redirected to a confirmation page, okay? And in this specific case for this coach, this page wastes the highest intent after someone books a call. And later in this video, I'll explain exactly what this page should look like so it stops the leak immediately after someone books a call. So the first thing that we can see here is this welcome section. The first mistake that I can see on this page is that once again we have this book clarity call button, right? We already booked a call, so I'm not sure why this button exists here. And when I land on this page, I don't even know if the call I booked is actually confirmed. So this is the first thing I would definitely change on this page. So the next section that we have is a testimonial section. This one is really important. Every page should definitely have testimonials, but it should just be a bit better organized. This slider is a bit hard to consume, and the text is hard to read, which makes people move on without paying too much attention to it, right? Also, we have book clarity call, once again, which is, again, really big mistake on this page. The next section that we have is this 1-minute video explaining the purpose of the offer. It doesn't say too much. It's solid, but it should not be on this page because it doesn't say anything about the call that I just booked. And I'll give you the exact video format you should use on your confirmation page later in this video, so stay till the end. This is not too bad, but I would just make a few changes here to make even better results. Then below this video, we have 3 different CTAs. One is to a blog channel, one is to book a call, again, which I already did, and the last one is to IG, right? And I would personally not use 3 different CTAs on the confirmation page. We want to be really specific what should next step be for the people who book a call. So I would definitely remove these 3 CTAs from this page, and I'll explain later why. So let's quickly recap this confirmation page and let's see what's actually missing here, okay? So there's no confirmation that my call is booked. There's no clear explanation of what the call is about. There's no clear expectation on what might happen after the call. There are no answers to the most important questions and objections people might have before the call. There's an unclear testimonial section with hard to consume content. There are no clear next steps on what I should do after I book a call. And there are too many CTAs that are irrelevant to my booking experience. But don't worry, because we are going to fix each one of these steps here. Now, when it comes to emails, the only email that I got in this 24-hour window is an invitation email. And this is one of the biggest mistakes here, because the email is one of the first things people will check after they book a call with you. There's this part of what will happen on the call. It's solid, it's not too bad. It says in this call we will explore where you're currently at with your holistic health and fitness and so on, right? It gives me some expectation of what the call should be, but I would just expand a bit more and set more clear expectations of what will actually happen on the call and what's going to happen after the call, okay? And this is the only email that I got in this pre-call window, which is a big mistake. Also, I didn't receive any SMS or a text confirmation in this window before the call, which is also a big mistake, and I'm going to show you later exact messages you should send to people who book a call with you. Now, this is just an example. So if we assume that this coach is selling a high ticket offer at 5K and that his current show rate is around 55% on every 100 calls he books. So if he improves his show rate to 75% without touching anything else inside his funnel, meaning no more leads, no more ads, or without changing his sales process, that means that there's potential 30K he can recover just by increasing his show rate by 20% without touching anything else in his funnel, which can be a really huge difference for someone who's making money online, because as I mentioned, it can be almost $400,000 per year that you can lose just in this difference from 55 between 75% show rate. So here's exactly what I would do to fix this leak and to get his 30K back in his pocket, okay? First, I would completely rebuild his confirmation page from scratch. The first thing someone should see when they land on the page is a clear confirmation that the booking actually worked. You can say something like, your call is officially confirmed, which is completely enough. Right? And on his current page, the prospect has to look around and guess whether everything went through properly, and that uncertainty should be removed immediately. So the first thing I should see is that my call is actually confirmed. Not 3 different buttons, not a link to Instagram, not another button asking them to book a call they already booked, just one action that prepares them for the conversation, which means that you can just say, take 3 minutes to watch this short video below before we talk. And that's it, whole magic, right? Also, if you want, which is optional, you can add a quick note basically saying this call is designed to understand your current situation, the results you want, and what may be blocking you so we can explore the best path forward, right? This is just an example. Then what I would do is I would record a short 3 to 5 minute video specifically for people who have already booked his Vitality Maxing call. And it should be under this confirmation headline here. And the video should start with something like, hey, congrats, your Vitality Maxing call is officially confirmed. Before we speak, I want to quickly explain what we're going to cover, how you should prepare, and what you can expect at the end of the call. He should then clearly explain what the call is actually designed to help with. For example, during the call, we will look at your current lifestyle, health, energy, and daily routines. We will clarify the result you want to achieve, what you already tried, and the biggest bottleneck that may be stopping you from creating more vitality, clarity, and freedom in your life. Once again, this is just an example. Don't just copy and paste it, okay? That's much clearer than simply calling it a strategy call, because that phrase could mean almost anything, right? It also connects the conversation directly to the result his audience is already looking for through VitalCamp. Then I would clearly explain what might happen at the end of the conversation, just something like, if we believe VitalCamp can help you, we'll explain what working together could look like and answer any questions you have. If another solution or path makes more sense for your situation, we will tell you. And if we don't believe we're not the right fit, we will be honest about that too, okay? And before ending the video, I would direct them toward the other important actions on this page. Something like, before we speak, take a few minutes to go through the rest of this page, watch the short videos below that answer the most common questions people have before this type of the call, make sure the call is added to your calendar, and make sure to check your email, because I'm going to send you really important information about our call. Then he could just finish with, that's it, go through the rest of this page and I'll see you on the call. This makes the purpose of the call clear, removes uncertainty around what will happen, and gives the prospect clear next steps before they leave the confirmation page. Quick note, this is just a basic example. Don't copy paste it, expand it based on your specific offer, avoid vague claims, be specific, answer to things that are actually important to your specific prospects, okay? So right below that video, what we want to do next is add an FAQ videos. And this is one of the most important parts in your confirmation page that 80% of businesses never use. So add a short FAQ video section that answers the questions most likely to create hesitation before the call. Questions such as, what is this call really about? How long is the call? What happens after the call? Do I have to work with you later? What if I'm not sure I'm ready? Is this coaching or consulting? What makes your approach different? What if I have more questions or something like that, right? And make sure that you answer the questions your prospect actually cares about. So do not just throw random questions as I did here. Make sure that each question is specific to your ICP and that it's a real concern, right? So do a deep research on what your prospects actually care about, what questions they have, what objections they have, and then answer them before they get on the call in this FAQ video format. Simple as that, okay? And under that FAQ video section, you can add other unanswered questions in a text format to make sure they have all the questions answered before they get on the call, right? And below that, I would just add 2 important steps before they get on the call. It should be really simple, really clear. First one could be to remind them to check their emails, including spam or promotion tab. And you can just say, we'll send you a few emails before the call so you know exactly what to expect and how to get the most value from it. So once they go through the confirmation page, they can know what steps they should take next, right? And the second one can be send me a message on WhatsApp to confirm our call. So once they click this WhatsApp button here, they can directly open a chat with you with saying, hey, I just want to confirm our call for today. And then you can continue the conversation from there. So the entire confirmation page should have a clear job, right? By the time the prospect leaves it, they should understand 4 main things. First one is that their booking worked. Second one is that they know exactly what to expect. Third one is that they have their questions answered and objections handled before they get on the call. And the fourth one is that they know exactly what to do before they get on the call. And this is how you make a confirmation page that actually gets more people on the call ready to buy. Right? This is the first thing I would do to stop this 30K leak inside this high ticket funnel. And here's the next thing that we have to improve, okay, which is what emails we send to our clients once they book a call. I wouldn't just add more reminders, because a reminder only tells the prospect when the call starts. It does not explain why the call matters. It does not answer their questions or prepare them for the conversation. So instead, I would build a short pre-call email sequence that starts immediately after someone books a call. And every email should have one specific job. The first email would be the confirmation email. This should arrive immediately after the booking. It should clearly confirm the date, time, and location of the call, but it should also explain what the call is actually about in a really specific way, okay? And that is much stronger than just sending a basic calendar invitation with almost no context about the call. I would also include a link back to the confirmation page and tell them to watch the main video before the call in case they missed it. Okay. Then I would use the remaining emails to cover the 4 main areas the prospects need to understand before speaking with the sales team. Okay. The first one, we want to handle their main questions. Then we want to handle their second layer questions. Then we want to handle their biggest objections before the call. And then we have to set the right expectations about the process and the results. Okay. And the most important part, make sure that every email leads with value. Make sure that every email you send is something your client actually cares about. And each email should cover only one of these things. For example, the second email could answer the biggest question prospects have about the offer. For example, what actually happens after I join. And inside that email, you can briefly explain the method, what the first step looks like, what kind of support they receive, and how the process actually works. Then the next email could answer the second layer question that naturally comes after that. For example, okay, but what would this actually look like for someone in my position? And that email could include a short client story, where the client started, what problem they had, what was changed, and what result they achieved, and how long it took, right? This would be much stronger than adding random screenshots of testimonials with no context. Then I would write one email around the biggest objection his sales team hears repeatedly. Maybe they don't believe they have enough time. Maybe they have already tried something similar to this before and nothing changed. Or maybe they are wondering whether the process can work for their specific situation. So whatever objection appears most often should get its own email. You can look at it that way. And these are all real concerns people have, so address them before they get on the call. And I want to pay a full credit to Jeremy Haynes. He talks a lot about this whole process here. And he mentioned that you can send up to 5 to 6 emails per day that answer the real concerns, answer important questions, set the right expectations, and handle the biggest objections people have before they actually get on the call. So the goal with email sequence is to give your prospect what they need to know before they get on the call. Then closer to the call, I would just send a simple logistics reminder, for example, like 24 hours before, 12 hours before, 6 hours before, 1 hour before, and 50 minutes before, and then you can send them a live link once the call starts. The goal is to use each email to answer important questions, reduce real concerns, and set clear expectations. Now, when we're done with the email part, we have to improve the manual outreach process, okay? Which is the highest leverage point in the entire pre-call system, and this single part of the process can increase your show-up rate by another 15 to 20% if you do it the right way. So automation can send information, but a real person can start a conversation and learn what that specific prospect actually cares about, okay? And here's what I would do. First, you have to stop sending messages like this. Just following up, are you still interested? Can you confirm the call? Did you see my last message? Those messages ask for attention without giving them a real reason to actually respond to your message. So messages like that are asking them to do something for the business without giving them anything useful in return. Instead, the first message should introduce the person reaching out, connect the message to the book call, offer something useful, and make the reply simple and really easy. And for our coach, it can look like this. Hey, John, Christian here from Vital Camp. I saw you booked a Vitality Maxing call with us for some day. Looking forward to speaking with you. Before the call, I have 2 things that might be useful. A short client breakdown showing how someone improved their energy, focus, and daily consistency without following an extreme routine, and a quick video explaining what the first 30 days inside Vital Camp look like, what we focus on first, and how the process works. Which one would be more useful for you right now? Let me know and I'll send it over. And now the prospect can easily reply and you can start the real conversation. And before doing any outreach, I would first build a small library of useful assets, which are these 2 assets here. That can include a short case study, a client breakdown, a founder video, a PDF file explaining the process, an FAQ video, a proof document. So you do not need 20 different pieces of content. You can start with the questions your sales team is already answering on almost every call, right? So find something that is actually valuable to your prospects so you can send them when you're doing outreach like this, okay? And the only important thing is that it's actually important to your clients. Now, if you want to take this message to another level, you can pick up your phone and use this message as a script to record a quick selfie video. You can even mention something specific from their application to make it even more personalized, okay? So also credit to Jeremy Haynes. This is his technique and it works amazing. Once they choose which asset they want, if you want to expand the conversation and get a bit more information about your prospect, you can send the asset immediately and ask one simple question connected to their situation. For example, when you look at your current health and lifestyle, what feels like the bigger issue right now? not knowing exactly what needs to change, or struggling to stay consistent with the habits you already know would help. Now, their answer tells you what they actually care about, and you can use that information later in the process, okay? It also gives the closer useful context before they get on the call. Now, if they do not respond, do not just keep sending these stupid follow-up messages. Instead, you can say, hey, John, I found a short client breakdown connected to the main challenge you mentioned in your application. It shows how someone improved their energy, focus, and daily consistency, what they changed first, and what happened over the next 90 days. Want me to send it here? So the main point of the manual outreach is that always lead with value, give them what they actually care about, and stop sending what's easier to send, okay? So do not fully automate this process. It takes a bit more work, but it can 10x your results. So that's the full process I would use to fix the leak inside this funnel and make more money with the same amount of leads, okay? And here's a quick recap of what we actually did. First, we rebuild the confirmation page so the prospect immediately understands that the call is confirmed, what will happen, and what they need to do next. Then we build a pre-call email sequence that answers 3 main questions, handles the biggest objections, and prepares them for the conversation. And finally, we add a real manual outreach that starts a conversation, identifies what each prospect cares about, and gives the closer useful context before they get on the call. And none of this requires more leads. It doesn't require changing the offer, and it does not require rebuilding the entire funnel. Okay. So if you want me to do this exact process based on your specific offer, check the link in the description and book a free workshop. Okay, we're going to do exact the same process that we did here. We're going to find where the leak is happening. We're going to see what actually has to change for you in order to be able to fix that leak. And I'm going to show you the exact SOPs that we use to fix leaks like this. Okay, so you're going to get everything that you need to find the leak and to fix it. And I'm going to do that for completely free. So check the link in the description, choose your time, and I'll see you on the call. Bye.